So for today's second segment, I'm excited to introduce my friend, colleague, and client attorney, Christine Morgan. Christine joined Boston area-based Wilchins, Cosentino, and Novins in 2019. Hi, Christine. Great to see you. And please, if you could share a bit about yourself before we'll ask you a couple of questions.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Just briefly, I went to Suffolk Law School years ago, moved up here from the Rhode Island area, and greatly enjoyed tax, estate planning types of subjects in law school. So I pursued an LL.M in taxation at BU. I started my own practice in 1991, ran that for 10 years, and then joined a small, very compatible law practice with a partner. And we had that practice for another 10 years. And then after approximately 20 years, started realizing that I wanted to scale back. So that's a little bit about me.
Great. And Christine, I'll tell you, like I mentioned earlier in today's show, I've been doing, running Senior Attorney Match for just about 11 years now. And you are the most methodical client that I've had to date, right? Like when we talked, okay, you had a plan for a plan, okay, and it was amazing. And there are other lawyers out there that are similar to you that are thinking to themselves, okay, 3, 5, 7, 10 years out. So, as our first question, Christine, could you just describe your methodical approach to succession planning for your practice?
Right. So I've always been a planner. Maybe that's why I like estate planning. My methodical approach, it's funny how it started. It actually started because my partner was much older than me, and he was in the process of retiring. So that was almost like a dress rehearsal for me of what would eventually happen with me when I retired. So when we realized that he would be retiring, I started going to seminars about succession planning. And actually, Jeremy, you were one of the panelists with another attorney, and I can never remember his name, but you always remember the name. And that got my wheels spinning about what I would need to do. So then after I went to that seminar and heard about the issues that people face when they retire, I started applying it to myself. I started trying to identify what was going to be important to me as I transitioned, and even trying to identify what the issues are. You don't know what you don't know. So I started to, and I just have a few notes here, but the things that really mattered to me were having a deep bench of attorneys. Jeremy, you and I have used that phrase consistently, but a deep bench and longevity so that the clients would always have a home as I pulled back, stability of a firm, and support staff, and commitment, for me personally, commitment to being willing to service clients at all different levels of estate planning, because I was doing Medicaid planning and disability planning, and on up from there for very wealthy folks. And so it was very important to me to go somewhere that could service the full spectrum. And then working with you, Jeremy, I was able to learn and understand the actual business issues that would be involved. So that was sort of my, at least in the beginning, my approach.
Great. And Christine, we talk a lot about trust transfer. Like you and I have talked about that. I talk about that with a lot of clients. You've joined this firm almost 5 years ago. And so could you tell us a bit about the trust transfer? You have clients that trust you. And as you have started practicing less, as that next question, how has trust transfer worked for you since joining that growing law firm?
Right. It really started, for me, it's been like a 3 or 4 pronged approach. It started with literally with the letter that I sent to clients when I moved, where I said, I'm doing this so that as the years go by, you will always have someone who can assist you, and assuring my clients that there would be a backup plan. If I'm helping them to plan, I should have a plan for myself and for them. So it really, out of the park, started with notifying them in a way that they would feel comfortable. And then with that, then began the actual sort of hands-on process of introducing the clients to the attorneys at the firm, introducing the referral sources to the attorneys at the firm, so that everyone in the whole ecosystem felt comfortable with the transition, the new personnel. And it's really worked very well, because there's sort of this, Christine, if you trust this attorney as a good fit for me, then, and I trust you, Christine, then this should work well. And I'm finding that it's really overall, there's glitches. There's people, and Jeremy, you and I have talked, there's people that say, oh, I don't want to change to a different attorney, but I can't be their attorney forever. It's really working well. And
That's
the clients appreciate that if something happens to me, there's not going to be a free for all.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, because you as an estate planner, and we talked about this, I mean, you develop such close relationships with your clients.
Yes.
I mean, in like, let's say a litigation setting, you have that relationship and it's sort of time set, okay, from the beginning of the matter until it's over. But, with estate planning, you wrote plans for people, you learn about their lives, they make changes throughout the course of their lives. I mean, you've had clients, as I recall, like for over 30 years.
Yes, exactly.
And so could you just share with us, how that trust transfer has happened when you're transferring a relationship like that to a younger attorney at the firm you joined?
Right. So a lot of times the way it works is we have a meeting with the client. I'm there, and the other attorney is there, and maybe other support staff like a senior paralegal. But I can sort of facilitate the meeting so that some of the nuances of the relationship get conveyed, because it's a very personal area of the law, and I can help the client to feel comfortable with the attorney. For example, one of the attorneys at my firm that I refer a lot of work to has really almost the exact same background as I do, an LL.M, and has done Medicaid planning, high-end planning. And I can say to the client, you're getting the best of both worlds here, because this attorney, or whichever attorney is in the meeting, is going to be able to take care of you for years after, I won't be able to. So it's really been a very good way to transition the clients and to do this trust transfer.
Terrific. And you've continued to practice. So could you just also share with us the work-life balance? How has your work-life balance changed since joining a growing law firm in 2019?
There's no words for the relief. On a couple of different levels, you mentioned, running the practice is exhausting. So now I can focus on what the clients need, not all the little details, and do we need a new copier machine or new billing software, stuff like that. That's all taken care of. My parents and my in-laws are all elderly, and they really need a lot more attention now. And I'm able to help all of them, my husband and I, and not have that day-to-day responsibility of, did that estate tax return get completed, or did that estate plan get mailed out? Because there's, again, such a deep bench at the firm. I know that everything is moving along, and I'm not having to deal with all those day-to-day things that can take up a lot of time and mental energy. And the other, I just want to mention one thing related to that, which is the technology is amazing because I'm always in the loop about what's going on with the cases, because people can just CC me on the emails. And I always know what's going on. And technology is wonderful in that regard. So you don't feel like something comes in and you don't know whatever happened to it. And I find that reassuring. So if the client calls and says, I didn't quite understand this or that, I'm not flailing around trying to figure out what's going on with the case.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Christine. All right. So here's our last question. And here you can put on, your legal hat, your advisor hat, your experience hat. What would you recommend to a senior attorney, estate planning attorney who wants to start practicing less and does not have an internal successor for their practice?
Right. I think the first, it depends on the individual, but you have to start thinking about what matters to you, because what matters to one person doesn't matter to another person. Think about how you want this to roll out. Do you want to keep practicing and just keep practicing less and less? Do you, for whatever reason, want to walk away completely? I haven't seen that too much, but you have to consider how you want to be paid. And again, what matters, like the things that I said that I identified. And as you mentioned, the compatibility. One of my number one recommendations is start early. Start even earlier than you think you need to, because then you have time to learn about what the issues are, because it evolves. What you think might be an issue when you first start might not be as important as the process moves along. And it's very helpful to have an advisor, someone like you, Jeremy, that has their ear to the ground. You and your advisor have to have your ear to the ground about who might be a good match, and what the issues are going to be in the legal community that you're practicing in. So if you can get that started, and the earlier the better, then you don't feel like you're having a fire sale when the time comes.
Wonderful. All right. Christine Morgan, thank you so much. Christine, by the way, lifelong Red Sox fan, big part of Red Sox Nation. Let's hope for a better year in 2024, Christine.
Jeremy indulges me.
And thank you so much. Real pleasure. Thanks. All the best,
you.
Christine.
Thank you for having me.